Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 37th annual Enderle Memorial Pull-Off here from Urbana, Ohio. We are at the Champaign County Fairgrounds in Urbana, Ohio for this great event. We've got about 2 hours until the regional national competitors take their place here at the Twin Tracks Champaign County Fairgrounds here in Urbana. I am thankful to be joined today by a great list of competitors here. We have Doc Christensen from Minnesota, Todd Feist from Indiana, Lee Butts from Michigan. So we just wanted to, bring you guys in, talk to you about your experiences. Doc, you've been here at the Enderle for a long, long time. How many times have you been qualified for the Enderle pull-off?
I looked on the board, and I think it's only 10 times me or my son been invited down here. I think we won 3 times.
Nice. Now, is that just in the modified class, or does that include all of your two-wheelers as well?
Two-wheelers also. I've been down here about 8 times with the modified, but we won twice.
Nice. Congratulations. So, how did you get started in pulling, Doc?
Well, being a farm kid back 50 years ago, labor was intensified compared to today, and the neighbor always hired me for extra help, and little did I know he tractor pulled, and back them days you needed duals on the tires, so I was a grunt guy, and he'd help take the duals on and off and put them back in the pickup and follow the truck down the road and go to the county fair, and then put the duals on, drive over to scale, and do all your things that you do today, except this is 50 years ago when people stepped on the sled yet. So it's an experience that everybody should go through before they go pulling out here today. I'm looking at this tractor behind me, and just brings back total memory.
Yes, and I think, Lee, you started with something pretty similar. This is an old Farmall F20 behind us. Todd, how did you get started in pulling?
Well, it's funny, Doc just mentioned something that actually I was a part of when I was a teenager. I went to the county local street fair, and they had a garden tractor pull, but it was a step-on sled. So I was the weight. I was one of the kids that would sit on a stool, and when the sled went by, I'd step on the sled. But as far as actual pulling competition, I started with a bone stock Oliver 88, like 2 years out of high school, and it just kind of went and did things from there on. And it just kept going from one thing to another until we're at this level.
Nice. So how many times has Spice Motorsports qualified for the Enderle pull-off?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I personally have been here, I'm thinking 15 years maybe, but this is the first year that I haven't qualified for a long time. Now my wife Terry is in as the light mod class this year. She qualified 4th, so we've been coming a long time, and it's a great honor. I just love coming here. What Kent and June Enderle did for this sport is just amazing, and we just love coming here.
Good. Lee, how did you get started? Lee Butts?
I'm like these folks. I started at the county fair pulling stock tractors, but I come home from Vietnam in 1968, and I built a Farmall H with a 283 in it. And we were pulling back in them days on the stone boat sled, and I tell this story. We built this tractor with headers that pointed out, and we'd drive down the track, and they would be in them chairs. We'd blow their hat off, and they'd be down there trying to pick up their hat. Well, the sled go by, so, they were used to, real slow, and, we were going, it wasn't tremendous, but we was probably going 10 miles an hour then, and they couldn't step on the boat, and they'd fall down, and I don't know why we didn't hurt people, but that's the way we initially got going.
Okay, so Doc, you have a large family that's involved in the sport of pulling. How many members of your family are actually involved now, and how many vehicles do you have?
Well, we got 4 two-wheelers and a mod.
Okay.
And this year we only ran 3 out of the 4 because of parts. And a long time I had an operation on my neck, and that sort of took a lot of my time. But it always, as my kids grew up from 13 or less, they would all go pulling with us, and first thing they would say is, when do I get to drive? Well, when my oldest son got old enough to drive, we built him a 2-wheel drive, And that's exactly when two-wheel drive started. And then when my second son come along and gets old enough to drive, my first son was married, and we're driving home from a family function, and we're talking tractor pulling, and my daughter-in-law says, I thought we were chasing. Oh, my son says he gets to drive this year. My daughter-in-law says, I thought we were chasing points. So I just said to myself, I guess we're building another two-wheeler then. So that's how things got going there. We built another two-wheeler, and then my daughter and my son-in-law get married, and they go off in their thing, and then about 10 years go by, and they come home and start a family and living in Minnesota, and we go to a pull, and after the pull, we always pig out with steaks or whatever, burgers and stuff, and she says, well, Dad, when do I get to drive? And I said, which one do you want to drive, the purple one or the blue one? Oh, no, Dad, I want my own. So I had to build another one. And anyway, that's how we got the 3 two-wheelers that we get mostly chased with now, and I still had the mod, and basically keep the kids out of trouble, and I didn't have to force them to come with me because they got to drive. And of course, keeping the kids between when they're 15 to 25, I think there's a lot of kids that get lost today and maybe meet the wrong people or the wrong items that they could actually get in trouble with. And I say tractor pulling, you can have a good time out here, but most of the time everybody looks out for each other, and they all learn. First thing you have to learn in pulling that there's more losing than winning.
Yes, it's a good life lesson that you're not always going to win, unfortunately.
And then that's how hopefully that you pick up on things like that, and that you're courteous when you win and you're courteous when you lose.
Right. So Todd, you guys have the 2 mods now. You've had a two-wheeler in the past. What makes you stick with the modified class? Now, have you always pulled modifieds through the years? Or I know you said you started with an Oliver 88 stock and then moved up from there. So how did your pulling career progress?
Well, we started out with stock farm tractors. I had 2 of those over a period of a couple of years. And then our boys were getting to an age where we just couldn't afford the pulling, and we had a lot of stuff, family stuff that we had to deal with. So we laid out for about 6 years, and then in 1990 we built a single engine, naturally aspirated, what we call in our area Economod. And we ran one of those for, I think, 5 years. Then we built the second one that Terry was driving, and we did that for probably 15 years, ran that. Then I made the mistake of putting the blower on one of them, and we went to some of the single-engine blower classes in Illinois, and they had some in Tennessee. I really got the bug of the blown engines, and so we progressed from there. I bought Scott Tedder's chassis and one engine, so we went to a twin-engine setup, and we did that for several years, and it just progressed from there till we got. The furthest we progressed, I would say, is we went to running Grand National Light Unlimited, Grand National Mod, and two-wheeler all in 1 year. We ran all of them Grand National, and when we got done that year, I told my wife, I said, we're going to have to go home, regroup financially, mentally, and physically, and so that was kind of the pinnacle of our pulling stuff, and we've been really doing a lot of the Light Unlimited stuff and now the Light Mod stuff. In the region, 7500 region mod, we've been doing that for years.
So Lee, you currently drive a Super Farm press-on at the Grand National level. Tell us about your pulling career. I know you started, took a break, and then came back. So walk us through that.
Well, you mentioned this tractor behind us. Our second tractor we built was an F20, and we flipped it upside down, and it looked like a rail. And like he was saying, we possessed from a carbureted engine, then we went to an injected engine, and then once you put a blower on a tractor, it's all over. There's no response like a blown motor. And then we possessed to putting 2 motors on, and then we had it where we put one in and took it out. Then we finally built a tractor light enough, because back in them days we pulled 5, 7, and 9. Every pull you went to, you pulled 3 classes.
1,000 pounds.
And we finally built a tractor light enough it would get in the 5 and strong enough that it would pull in the 9. But you'd throw them, we'd start out a tractor all weighted down. We'd throw all the weights on the ground and start. And then you'd gradually put them all back on, and then you'd leave. And then the next pull you go to, start all over again. We had back in them days, we used to weigh in, and we had a tag on the side of our tractor. It said this tractor weighs 5 with this many weights, 7 with this many weights. So we didn't have to weigh every time, but we had to handle them weights all the time. And then in '83, my kids got so busy, I'd get home, the tractor was broke, and they had something going on. I said, well, I can't go, I got to fix the tractor. And I finally said, no more, I'm going to raise my family and go from there. So we quit in '83 for a period of time. And then in 2006, I got sick with cancer. And during that period of time, a friend of mine in church come to me, and he had watched me pull when he was a kid, watched me pull. And he asked me if I would go in on a tractor with him. And that was in 2008. And that's the tractor we're currently running right now. But after a year, his wife hated it so bad that she got out, and I ended up with the tractor, and here I am today.
So when we talk about the Enderle pull-off, and we put all of this experience that we have sitting at the desk here today, what is your best experience of being here? But I also want to know your worst. What's your best experience, Lee? Coming to the Enderle pull-off.
I'm not like these folks. I only been here twice.
Okay.
And my first experience was, it was great. I ended up third, but just the atmosphere and just to earn to get here, makes you feel good just to be here amongst these people that, we've earned this spot.
Absolutely. It's a pinnacle event. So, Todd, as Terry's pulling here tonight, one of the only women in the Grand National Series, Terry's hooking tonight with your light mod. How did you get here? I know when we spoke in Benson and prior to the season, you guys had a mission and a plan. It went off the rails. Get us to where you got here with Terry's vehicle.
Yeah, it did go way off the rails, especially with my tractor. We just had fits with a lot of small breakage, and my left motor, at one point in the season, my left motor just kept shutting off halfway down the track, and we just could not figure out. We thought it was points boxes and this and that, and finally we discovered it was the mag switches on the dash. They had a little rubber boot on there to keep the water out. Well, it was, when the sled would kind of hit me, it would pop the switch out and shut the motor off. We finally figured that out at Arcola. So we had a lot of minor breakage, a couple of major breakages, but Terry's tractor was just much more consistent than my tractor.
Okay.
And but we've been coming here for a very long time, and to kind of play on what Lee was saying, my worst experience, I came here and I still had my motors 3 in a row. Well, if my front end got more than about 2 feet off the ground, that thing would go left on me no matter what I did. We broke it like 2 nights before the Enderle, and we worked all night and all day to get it together, get here. And at that time, Jack Kielmeyer was the king of the hill, and I thought, well, maybe this year I'll have something for Jack. So I went out there and I proceeded to drive that thing right out of bounds. And I was really just sick because my crew and myself had worked so hard to get there.
Yeah.
And then I blew it by driving it right out of bounds. And I think my high point, I've won here 4 times, and to do that when Kent was still coming to this event.
Kent Enderle.
That was a highlight, I think, just being able to stand there and get your picture taken with Kent.
Go ahead.
So just so folks that our viewers at home know that aren't really familiar with our sport, the Enderle Pull-Off is pulling's all-star event. So in the 13 Grand National classes, you have to finish in the top 5. So we take our top 5 in each Grand National division, and if someone's not able to make it, then it goes farther down the list. But so we have the top 5 in Grand National competition. Regional National, you have to win your region or be an at-large qualifier. So we have 10 or 12 regional national classes here, and this is just an awesome event. It's the end of the year. It's no points. You have all winter to fix it, so you go for broke. You turn the wick up as high as it will go and hammer down and try to win the prestigious Enderle Pull. pull-off. And we'll talk more about Kent and Joan Enderle. We have their son coming in
Yeah, Mike
later
will
on
be
in
on
this
later.
broadcast. So we'll get to more of that. But sorry to interrupt you, Doc.
Doc,
Problem.
we talked a little bit prior, and I was like, wait. Tell all the viewers at home. What was your high and low of getting here this season? And what does it take to keep running? In your perspective, in my understanding, you jam all of your equipment into one trailer
Well,
to haul it around.
as we started pulling, we started sleeping under the truck, and basically, like everybody else did, then you had bought a tent along, and then you bought a pop-up camper, and then a camper on the back of the pickup over the trailer, and progressed down the line. And but then we had a mishap. My wife got cancer in 1998, and that sort of screwed us up a little bit. And she had colon cancer, and then basically she had to go to the restroom every 20 miles, and
She's going to be real proud you told us all.
yeah, she understands that
Yeah.
it made us tractor pullers anyway. We built a toter home because we built a bathroom right on board, and pardon dear, I didn't want to bring all this stuff, but this gentleman asked. Anyway,
I want those people to know you. Know your
basically,
family.
we bought a Kentucky trailer, and we started stacking our stuff in there, and we found out we could only get 2 in there. And then we decided that, you build a lift system in the garage. We owned an auto repair shop, and we just built a lift system in there, and then pretty soon we had 3 rigs in there, and then we built another rig, and we have 4 rigs in there. And basically, it's 4 inches apart, and
4 inches.
4 inches from one rig to the other one, and basically, if you want to get on the other side, you got to climb over top, and so that means the younger guys get to do that.
All the tie downs, untie ties.
Well, one thing we learned in the world of tying them down in there is better have enough tie downs in there, because we had one mishap once in South Dakota where this lady was making a left turn in the front, and there was a room for a passer on the right, and halfway around I was driving, and I see the front tires go from left turn to right turn, and we slammed on the brakes, and we're doing about 40, and front two-wheeler breaks loose and comes through the front of the truck and moves of the trailer, and pushed it out about 4 inches, and of course, naturally, we didn't get to pull that one that night. So we learned after that you have to tie them down good in there, so there's basically 4 tie downs that if one breaks, the other ones are going to keep it there. But I mean, we been pulling for 56 years. The next year will be 57 years, and never had a break. And I enjoy watching my kids pull more than I like driving myself, because just the atmosphere of a family, togetherness, and we have our arguments once in a while on how we drive and where we. They always have me do the spotting of the sled, because Grandpa, you know dirt from dirt. We just pull on it. Well, that's fun part of picking the spot out there, and basically, I always say somebody pulls 200 feet. Now it's a good deal. Now we get 2 packs on the end here.
As both of you start grinning and smiling, you guys recognize it as well as veterans.
And now we get 2 packs, and then you got to look where the packer went and tell the driver, now see where the packer went. So if you can just aim for that spot there, you're going to get an extra pack. And in the world of pulling, sometimes the track's good in number 1, and sometimes it gets better, and we all understand how that works. And if the packer is really doing a good job out there, maybe the last hook is better, and sometimes the first hook is better. So in the world of pulling, first you have to learn how to lose, then you have to learn how to win, and learn how to drive. And it's important for the driver not to get scared of like in the modified class, that the first thing that happens when you're a new driver is the front end comes off the ground, and the first thing they do is backpedal the throttle, and then they shake their head because you told them it's going to happen, and then they say, Grandpa, you told me the front end was going to come off, and I still backpedal the throttle. So it gets, after a few passes, they get better and better and better, and life is that way. You're supposed to be able to pick up everything you did. When you work today, you should learn something, take back home, so you don't make a mistake tomorrow,
How big's your catalog of information? You have 4 vehicles in a trailer. Do you have a catalog on each vehicle? Is that how y'all do it?
Yes, we have a catalog of how each one does, and we can go back 15 years and say how much weight each one has on the left or each one has on the right rear wheel, and how much weight's on the front, what air pressure we run for 15 years. So we got my daughter's in charge of that. So after the pull's over, she's got her book out and she goes around every vehicle.
We're talking about Kim.
Kim, yeah.
Kim, yep.
And she takes care of all how much weight we had on the front, how we finished, if the air pressure was better in one rig or the other, and make a note of that to see if the air was different in the one, and that one won or did better than the other 2 or the other 3. And basically, information is key in the polling world, and the more information you got, the better job you could do. We're how you say, just average people. I'm not deep pockets guy, so we always say we leave home and try to get second place, but we're going to try out drive the guy first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I think as you come in and somebody like Todd at the beginning of the year had a great setup planned for the summer. I think guys were looking at Todd as being the pinnacle, as we're at the Enderle pull-offs, and it's the pinnacle of our sport in NTPA, as it took a invitation, an invite, and a course, a path you had to win and achieve to be here. You sort of look at that's the goal I've set. That's the person I need to beat. That's the person I need to compete against and bring my A game against. Would you find a similar?
Well, yeah, you
insight?
always have someone that is really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And I've always said there's 3 kinds of pullers. There's the guy that can get the power to the dirt. There's the guy that can make the engines run really good no matter what they are. And then there's the guy that can do both those things. That's the guy you got to watch out for, the guy that can really make his engines sing, and he can also get the power to the dirt. And I'm not very good at that second thing, so it's just one of those things. Everybody's got their own strengths. And we, listening to Doc, I wish I could keep notes. We never keep notes. We tried several times, and I could just never get it done. So we kind of fly by the seat of our pants more than that. But and that's one reason we don't run 2-wheelers anymore, because we just never quite got a handle on the 2-wheelers. Whereas the mods, we felt like we had a pretty good handle on them. And one year early on in the 2-wheel drive, Terry beat Jessie Petro, and she was just ecstatic. And Jessie kind of took offense to that. I said, Jessie, you are the pinnacle. You're the guy that we're after, and we beat you. We feel good because we know we beat the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I target Lee a lot, and I've watched Lee, and as Lee said that the gentleman had been watching. Lee took a break. I followed Lee's results for years through that Region 2 of how well he did and what he did with his tractor, and look back and watch the videos online to see how I could become a better competitor. As you guys are watching at home, it's $39.99. You're going to watch the Enderle pull-off, 2 sessions here today. Remember to log into the Full Pull Picks. We've got the head-to-head lineups, matchups. I know that your tractors are lined up. I know that Lee's is also in that realm of who you can choose, where you can lay your money down. Real money pays, real money wins. But the options here as pullers with Enderle, and we did the draw, and we showed the draw here live at the 1 o'clock. What's your draw here tonight? What's Terry's draw?
As far as her
pull order in her class.
She's number 4.
So 4th. Good or bad? Where does that leave us?
Honestly, this track, I don't think it makes a huge difference.
Okay.
Sometimes being number 1 is just an advantage no matter what, because the pan on the sled is cool, the dirt is undisturbed, and you can just lay down a good pass oftentimes. But this track, we pull on this track usually twice a year, once at the Enderle and once at the county fair.
Oh.
And it is always just a stellar track for the big tires and the small tires.
So you're coming out in the infield track, which we would say is to our south, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth class. So when do your vehicles go out?
I don't get to pull this year.
I thought one of the 2-wheelers had made it in the regional class.
No, we just came out here because we always came.
But you're also part of, and had been for years, part of the WPI NTPA board, and that had been your input for years, even when your vehicles didn't make it. Similar to mine, like my draw here is being a committee member.
Right. I'm always involved in everything I do in life. I don't take this. I'm never a backdoor guy. If there's something I can say that maybe we could sway somebody to change something, I'm not afraid to speak out. So sometimes that gets me in trouble, sometimes not. But I communicate sometimes directly, sometimes that.
Hit in the NTPA board.
Yes, I've been hit on the board. Back in 1974, I was representing our state until in 1985 when they made it WPI and NTPA merged together, and long story on that. And then we had a board of directors. I got elected in 1990, so I've been on the board since 1990.
34 years.
Yeah, and then I've been our state president in our Minnesota for 15 years, treasurer for 5. So I've been involved in pulling. I never go away.
Do you still find the passion for it?
Oh, more than ever.
Yeah.
Now I'm retired from auto repair, so now my mind is completely, where can we go from here?
So, Lee, you were semi-retired from sugar beet harvests and planting. How does first class, infield side, what is your hook order?
I'm fifth.
You're fifth. Is that good or bad?
It's what it is.
Yeah.
That's pulling. You know, you can go back the whole season, and if you'd have had a different draw at this pull, you'd have did better. You know, I pulled the other night at Saline. I unhooked in first. I was second hook. Fourth hook beat me. Sixth hook beat the fourth tractor. The eighth hook beat the sixth tractor, and the 10th hook won it.
You need a set of dice with even numbers on them.
You know, I had a really nice pull, but just the wrong time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way this is.
In the way
usually
the track
when we come down here, the four-wheelers pull before us, you know, and when they have the break between the pulls, they manicure that track really well. So that first class out, that first guy has
a good opportunity.
Yeah, he has the best, and that's our class tonight. So is fifth all right? I don't know. I'll tell you in about 3 hours. I'll tell you what we should have did.
So as Lee says that, Darren and I will be with you for the broadcast. We're going to go on the air just before 5, national anthem, and all of the paperwork and logistics of you guys tuning back in. But we're going to continue straight through from the 5 to the 7 o'clock show. As you guys come off the track, do you mind if I tug you off? Or I might have you come in and sit in a little bit with Darren. Darren, we are putting him trackside tonight. We're going to try something new, give you guys a different insight at home, where just like the NFL, just like golf, trackside, we'll put a reporter down at one end or the other, and I'm going to try to coax you right off the seat, if you don't mind. Interested?
I got a question for you.
Oh, absolutely. I got a made-up answer.
Can you beep the words in it if it gets a little...
We'll figure it out. This is a destination audience, so it doesn't matter as much. But, yeah, absolutely. I think the insight that you guys could give us, and even if, and I don't want to take away, but it is an all-star event, so there's a lot less pressure, but there's a prestige to it, and I don't want to diminish that because I found that when you'd come here, and if I came out of Western Pennsylvania and I did well, I represented all of Western Pennsylvania and the guys I compete against all year long.
Well, most of the time that when we leave home to come to this Enderle, and even if we don't qualify to get here, we always support the guy that beat us all summer because, man, if we just had a better day, we could have done that guy. So if he does better and we're right behind him at home and say we behind by a couple points or whatever in the long run, if he ends up winning, then we say, well, we just have to work a little harder next year, and then he can support us when we get here.
Well,
absolutely.
That's, say I finish fifth. There's 40 other tractors that wasn't here. So you can't hang your head down because somebody's going to finish fifth, and someone's going to win it. Yeah, you want it to be you, but all the guys I pull against, I'm happy if they win it because they're friends.
Yeah. That's the one thing about pulling is most of the people that are, when you're out there pulling, they got their minds going in one direction, and that's to win. And sometimes they don't want to talk to you, and sometimes they don't. But so you can pick that up when you can talk to people. And most, like I said before, I raised my kids tractor pulling, and I wouldn't mind telling my kids when they have kids to keep doing it because how my kids turned out, I'm really proud of them.
Darren.
Phil, I think we need to move on to our next group of
Absolutely.
competitors, sponsors. We really appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you for your insight. Thanks for being a part of what we do and building that foundation. We wouldn't be here today without you guys building what you're enjoying now.
And
you know,
congratulations
starting out,
on the
growing
achievement.
through the years.
Like
Yes.
for the teams, you know what I mean? The teams that in all season long and the road to the Enderle.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to say it, that it is. And it's not an easy road. But thank
No,
you guys
it's not.
very much. We're going to have
Thank
up
you.
next
Good luck tonight, guys.
Chance
Thank
McGrath and Timmy Kane.
Thanks for
I'm gonna
inviting
be yelled
us.
at.
Thanks for inviting us on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining us. And during the event, I may reach out. I may drag you right off that tractor while after you get a sled placement, I may come over and ask you why you chose it. How's that sound, Doc? Tim, Chance, come up and join us. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, guys.
So, after these guys. So, we're going to be joined with Mike Kino, the Enderle, but we're going to be joined with Tim and Chance McGrath, and they had a heated battle. And I am gonna throw that in the wind of see, look, they won't even sit beside each other. They left the chair open. There you go. Exactly. That's what we're after. So, you guys in the Pro Stock division, the points race ended in Sandwich just a week ago.
Yep.
Walk me through it.
What do you mean walk
me
through
through
it?
it.
Well,
Tell me about
let's make an
Yes,
introduction.
yes,
This is Tim
absolutely. Sorry.
Kane from New Palestine, Indiana, driver of the Aces Wild.
The
Red Gambler. Sorry,
Gambler.
Tim.
Yep. Gambler.
Chris's tractor.
I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. Red Gambler, 2009 NTPA Grand National Champion, a winner in Benson, North Carolina this summer.
Yep.
And then Chance McGrath from Lower Knoxford, New Brunswick, the driver of Last Chance 2. So
The biggest
Case
border
IH
jumper.
and IH. So we appreciate you guys being on board with the Red Gambler, Tim.
So we went from Canton, Ohio. The points race tightened up. I think you had left there in third. Is that right? Canton?
Yes.
And you had made up some ground in Canton.
Well, I made up some ground, but I was so far behind. I was sixth place.
Yeah.
And because of breakages earlier in the summer and everything.
Yep.
And
Right.
so
Right.
I
And-
was kind of out of the points race, but I was chasing a win.
Absolutely. And you had some great runs in a sled reset, really handicapped you earlier this summer.
Yeah.
Let's not dwell on that, but tell me how you guys, in trying to get ahead of him last week, how was your hook last week? Tell me about it. Put me in your mind.
It was a damn good hook. We were actually supposed to hook before Tim, right, Tim?
Yep,
And
yep.
we got up to the starting line, and I knew exactly what was going on because for some reason when we weighed in, we had to put our drawbar up higher than we ever had. And when I was sitting on the starting line, I knew they were friggin' with that hit. So when Marvin came to me and said we can't get the hook in, we got to pull you out. So
We're talking about there's a little bit of a notch in a tongue.
Right.
What would you call that? That's welded on, a safety, so it can't bounce up out.
Right, so we pulled it back out there, and Marvin said they put a new hook in, and it just wouldn't go. It was only out about a 16th or an eighth of an inch, so we got a mini grinder and ground it out real fast. And
Shave the front edge closest to the chassis.
correct,
Okay.
And came back, and I could see Tim's run from sitting in the seat. I was sitting there watching while they were grinding out the drawbar, and I could see that he took the lead, and I said, put it right in his tracks.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, Tim. How'd that make you feel when you looked back and saw the sled?
I never heard
Set.
it. I never heard the drawbar story. He said he raised his drawbar up that much.
He totally did. He
Oh,
totally did.
that's why he got me.
That's right.
Because the drawbar was too high.
No,
Absolutely.
that was at the platform.
Might have been
Ow.
20, 24 inches. Who knows?
Yeah.
6 in one, half a dozen in the other.
No. Yeah, he was supposed to hook 3 in front of me.
Yeah.
And nobody was getting out there at that point of the class.
Mm-hmm.
And if he'd have hooked then, I think
You had a
I don't
better
think he was
chance.
going to get out there. Maybe I don't know. We'll never know that.
Oh, absolutely. But in your mind, you're like, oh yeah, that would have made all the difference, right? As competitors.
Yeah, well, I've been close. The last 3 hooks, I've had the lead and hadn't been able to hold on to it at the end. So I just been desperate for another win. And we were coming up. We were watching, and Rob Russell, he spotted the sled way over to the right and got out there, made a really good run. Actually took the lead, I think. And the next guy followed him and didn't get there. And we had already been talking about moving to the left side of the track. And
what'd you see over there?
nothing.
What were you watching? Come on, no one's watching. Shh. Everybody keep
Nobody's
quiet.
watching.
Yeah, keep
You know,
quiet.
I-
Keep quiet.
you
No
know,
one tell. What did you see on the left? If somebody goes back and watches that live,
It was
archived.
just, it was some of my. I thought I forgot a lot of pulling stuff over the last few years. I thought I forgot how to be a good puller. This year, with the tractor being as good as it is, I really started watching things more. I thought nobody had been quite that far left. It was kind of the left edge of the groove, and it looked smooth and just a good launch. And that's really all we were after was a good flat smooth launch there. And I thought we wanted to stay just left to where everybody had been finishing, and that's pretty much where the tractor went. And we were lucky enough to go take the lead again. I sit there and wait, and I see my name pop up, number 1. I go, oh, good, all right. And then
How many more tractors had to come?
it was supposed to only been one, you know.
Yeah.
Then the Connie tractor, Mac Nasty,
Yeah.
got within a foot of me. I thought, oh, that's good. And then this guy,
Who picked your lane? Who picked your line?
Oh.
Who set your sled?
he's not stupid, you know.
Yeah.
Right,
Who
right.
set your sled?
Colin moved the cone, put
Yeah.
it basically right where Connie's went, and
Drove it out.
it was a nice pull. It picked the wheels and never set them down right until I spun out.
That was a great track at Sandwich. It was an awesome track. One of the best they've ever had out there. And, Chance's tractor's good enough. You can't give him any break anyway. So he had the opportunity, and he
Capitalized.
took advantage of it
Capitalized, yep.
and got the win. He said I stole one from him at Benson. I said I took it. You know.
So that was the banter why I invited you on the show. The banter that we had and chit-chatting earlier in the evening last night and into today's meeting and the draw. That was the banter I wanted you guys at home to be a part of, that you two going back and forth as far as competitors, but still good friends and good banter. Like, I just enjoyed it. Like, it's fun sitting around the campfire talk.
It was good to see the red being out there, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Over the years, the green dominated so much, and now, you know, the red's in the game now.
So go ahead. Tell me what you found in your engine to make that power. Or tell me what you found in yours. Because the Lemke Motorsports Group has really found something in my mind when I saw you guys come out at the beginning of this season.
Yeah, I don't know. He worked on that all last fall and winter, and I really can't tell you the whole difference of why it makes that little bit of extra that we never even came close to before. But
is it power or is it power to the ground?
well, it's everything. You know, it started at Louisville, and when I made that first pass, you can feel it in the seat. When you got something good, you can feel it in the seat. And at Louisville, it felt so good. I knew we had something. You know, it's still gotta. You know, we still got to prove it later, and you know, everything's got to work your way.
Yeah.
But it's the tires. The tires are huge. The Mitas tires. Those things are working great, and the chassis is still working good. And I thought we've made good decisions on setting up the tractor all summer, and we've been pretty consistent. And we're here at the end. We've been trying to get another win. You know, like he said, we really stirring up the John Deere big block guys. You know,
Good.
really putting a lot of pressure on them. And yeah, it's great to see the red.
See him come to the lead, the red wave. So, and your package comes out of Chaos Fabrication, and you guys found something earlier this year. You had some rear end breakage, but if you quickly take us through, did you notice a power gain as the season went on, as you guys made some adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, it was a new motor this spring.
Yes.
And, yeah, I could tell first run out in Benson that it was a different engine for sure. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. What's better, but they put a good combination together between Chaos and Weimer Fuel and Air. They've done a really good job, and Colin and Kevin, the guys at Chaos, are just working hard to make these Red Pro stocks competitive.
Get up in the hunt. Well, I don't want to interrupt you guys, and I apologize. We've got some sponsorship. Mike Keno talk about the Enderle and the Enderle pull-off. From Kent and Joanne. It was Joanne, right? Joan. Thanks. Joan. But thank you guys for coming on. Good luck tonight. And after you come off the sled, Darren might be right here, live. May wait for you to get off your seat and come and join us on the
We'll be on the other track.
We're going to move this desk over there. I'll take the desk to you as long as you'll join us. I think the people at home want to hear from you guys and what it felt like after you get off your seat. So congratulations on your road to the Enderle, and thanks for joining us here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's Tim Kane with the Red Gambler and Chance McGrath. Last chance, too.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Last
guys.
chance, too. So joining us,
Good luck tonight,
Mike,
guys.
Mike Keenum. Come on in, Mike. That's all right. Pull up a seat. We're glad to have you. Really glad to have you. Pull up Mike 3 there.
And yes, and then get it really close.
Yep, about touch your mustache there. Absolutely, that's it.
There we go. Well, we want to welcome Mike Kena from Enderle Fuel Injection to our stage. We are at the 37th annual Enderle Pull-Off. Kent and Joan Enderle, Mike's parents. Mike, tell us how this Enderle Pull-Off got started.
Well, it was my dad. He wanted to do something different, and he tried the drag racing scene, but nobody ever really paid attention. And he got hooked up with Dave Schreier, and he came out to see this first tractor pull, and he was amazed at what these pullers can do with 4 and 5 motors, and he was hooked. And,
Literally.
Literally hooked. He went to other drag racing companies, and nobody seemed to take an interest, so my mother finally just looked at him and says, "Damn it, do it yourself." And here's the result of it, the Enderle pull-off. 37 years.
And in part of that Enderle pull-off, we're talking about the parent company. The Enderle Fuel Injection is where the base of the business started.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
Simi Valley, California.
Yep. I run a Enderle. I use your nozzles as water injection nozzles in my diesel tractor. But your originations were in drag racing and developing fuel injection systems, better systems. And now you offer a huge breadth of products. Tell me some of the products that are maybe even R&D. Sneak it to our audience.
One of the things we do is throttle linkage systems, and we're the #1 in the world. We do them for Holly, we do them for BDS, we do them from Carter, we do them for Edelbrock. That we make the product, they put their names on it.
So base manufacturer, building a product and providing it to them, and they're boxing and shipping.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
What gives you your dad's legacy, and I had the honor of meeting him and being around him some prior to us losing him a few years back. How does that passion perpetuate to you?
Well, I was first invited. My first pull-off was actually protection for my mom and dad in the airport because they were getting a little old and a little frail, and they got pushed around a lot.
All right.
So they kind of came to me, and I'm a brown belt Kempo, so no one's going to push them around when I'm there.
Yeah. And that's what brought you to the event.
That was my first event. My first event was Fort Recovery, and when I saw it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was hooked. And I haven't missed one in over 30 years.
So your perspective was to see it to believe it.
So a little history of the Enderle. It started at the Ohio State Fairgrounds, and then it moved to Ambassador Park at Fort Recovery. It was mixed in with other Grand National and Regional National classes. And then 2005, Mike, it was a leap of faith. We came here to Urbana as a standalone event. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, about some of the anxiety that your folks had in bringing it to a standalone event.
We were all scared to death. We didn't know what direction this was going to go. But, when you have an event like the Enderle Pull-Off and you share it, my dad just really believed that it could stand alone. And Mr. Dave Schreier, bless his soul, who's already gone, he basically backed up my dad and says, all you can do is try. And we came here, and we never expected the Enderle to be what it was. Popsgate wanted the Enderle so he can give back to the competitors. We never thought it would be as prestigious as it is. And that's why, now that they're both gone, I'm putting up the good fight to keep the Enderle.
And absolutely, like as you say that, your sponsorship is to drive sales to your brick and mortar business. Like, recognize the name brand, the products you have to offer. And so the investment here as a marketing or advertising dollar, in turn, gets me to remember when I need nozzles, I'm buying them from Enderle, and I'm not just Googling off Amazon.
Absolutely.
And the same with this whole field. Like, as we look across and they're lining up, and these are behind us, the vehicles are lining up behind us, the regional guys are all scaling. Each one of them has a piece or a part that plausibly comes from Enderle. Everything from the screens and fuel screens and the filters and fittings.
Everything.
That the dollar spent here in sponsorship, which is a prestigious sponsorship, you hand out checks as the guys finish and cross the scales tonight. You'll hand out checks, and that
big
advertisement dollar, marketing dollar, is worth its value because of the product sales that will follow this for the next few months.
We hope so.
Right, that's the idea, right?
That's the idea.
The investment causes the return in the brick and mortar business.
It's kind of a twofold thing. It's business and then it's personal, because as many years as we've been coming here, we've developed friendships with so many people. And it's my dad loved it. He wouldn't miss it. Even if the story is known right before he passed, I couldn't get him on an airline or anything to bring him here. So I rented a motorhome and I drove him across country so he can be at his last Enderle.
Yeah.
When I got him home, 3 months later, he was gone. You know?
I remember the camper packed right down there. We all came down to visit.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You told me that story, Mike, yesterday, and it was so touching. That was going to be my next question. I wanted you to tell that story.
But one thing about our Enderle product is you don't have to run our product to be in this event.
Actually, great point. Great point. That's not a predicator
Nope.
of being a purchaser or component. Like the contingency awards, sometimes we'll see are based on you using a product in your vehicle that your receipt would get you the payback.
Yeah.
Here, that is not possible.
No,
the road to the Enderle is the qualifier.
There's one way to get to the Enderle. You earn it. You qualify. That's the only way.
And
you have to earn it.
The prestige behind it. Absolutely.
We don't care if you use our equipment or not. Just like he said, you qualify, you come.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That was my dad.
Mike, do you want to stick around for a few minutes? We're going to have the guys from the ethanol group in and Beck's seat as well. Would you stick around with us, though?
Oh, man. I'm flattered. Yeah.
Yeah, stick a seat. Let's see if we can't get to hey, Brad, do you want to come on in? We're just going to join us both in. Both of you. Yeah, just join us. Absolutely. It makes for good conversation. If you come in, Brad, right here. Let me just make sure. Let's slide this one to you. And Brad, if you'll pull up a seat right here, I'm going to give you this one. And let the microphone about touch your corner of your lip. So, sorry. And it's Dennis Henry, right?
No, Levi Runkle.
Levi. So, my apologies. My notes are not caught up yet because we've been working all day.
I understand.
Yeah, Levi Runkle, right?
Thank you.
Levi, welcome from Beck Seed, one of our title sponsors for 2024. We appreciate you guys being a part of it. Now, is this your first Enderle pull-off?
No, actually, I'm from Urbana.
Okay.
So I've been to quite a few of these. I actually am not a Beck's employee. I'm the local dealer here for Champaign County, and this is our home fairgrounds. I'm on the fair board, grew up here, and it's pretty cool to be a part of it this way.
Yeah, yeah. So what does that mean as the local Beck's dealer? You're at your home county fair. You're on the fair board to be a part of an event like this.
Well, it's pretty cool because I started out with this event as a child coming to watch, and then on the junior fair board, worked the gates, cleaned up afterwards, sold tickets, and now to be here representing Beck's and the community and our dealership, it's pretty neat to be a part of it.
That's great. I mean, it's been a great partnership this year. You know, Beck's came on earlier this year as one of the major sponsors of NTPA, and they have been just a great partner. A lot of, local involvement, local dealers at every event that we've been to across the country all summer. And, tell us a little bit about Beck's.
Beck's, I've sold Beck's. This is my 18th year selling Beck's seeds, and what's really unique about them is they're family-owned. Third largest seed company in America, and to be family-owned and to evolve the way we have just in the 18 years I've been here, and the products and the service that we can provide, and just being unique that we're family-owned, Christian-based. We don't have to deal with all the corporate drama that's out there today, and we can focus on the farmer, and that's what's cool.
That's great. Well, welcome and thank you. I'm going to let Phil introduce
speaking
Brad
of that,
as well.
Dealing with the farmer, Brad Moffitt, and it's Ohio corn and wheat, but also the American ethanol brand. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, and he just mentioned something, you're direct to farmer, their relationships, and you guys have something similar with the direct to farmer and then farmer to consumer, a retailer.
We do. We represent Ohio's corn farmers, and when you count the sister states we have that are in the National Corn Growers Association, we represent a lot of farmers. And so we handle legislative efforts on the association side. Then on the checkoff side, I help manage those funds for promoting and getting more ethanol out in the retail market. So I work with station owners and retailers, and also educating consumers on the fact that they can use ethanol blended fuel. And incidentally, almost 98% of all the fuel on the market today, retail fuel, gasoline, is 10% ethanol.
Right. As part of the renewable fuels initiative, as well as you guys growing out and doing what we used to call, and you guys I don't remember the ideogram, but it was 15% or flex fuel, and the new term is unleaded 88.
We want to make sure and differentiate. Flex fuel is 85% ethanol for a flex fuel vehicle.
Thank you.
I play with that too. But right now our big push is unleaded 88, which is 15% ethanol. You can find it at 213 stations in the state of Ohio, and you can use it in any car or light-duty truck, 2001 and newer. Anybody tells you that it'll ruin your engine, I want to talk to them. I'll buy the coffee, and I'll set them straight. I'm the ethanol mythbuster.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had mentioned something to me, is the vehicle behind us. I'd like just a little bit on it.
That vehicle behind us is a 1936 F-20 Farmall with a 1969 Camaro engine.
Right up your alley, right, Keno?
I found that tractor in Minnesota, and it was basically a frame, some rusted out wheels, and an engine block. And my youngest stepson, Colton Garrison, and I, we restored it. I got a lot of help along the way. The Joint Vocational School in Greene County, Xenia, just down the road, tore the engine down, bored it, put.
Wait, so you're local to here too, just like him?
I grew up here.
Oh my goodness!
I saw my
Sounds
first.
Like convenient.
I saw my first tractor pull here in like 1967.
Awesome.
Yeah, the vocational school helped me rebuild the engine. We bored it, put flat top pistons in it, racing cam, and last week we put an 850 Edelbrock carburetor on it.
So you didn't have enough. You wanted more.
No, it come out of the factory with about 18 horse. Now it's just a little shy of 500.
Holy
nice. That's a nice boost.
just a small boost, right?
If you want to continue to build the horsepower, we know somebody that
know
can
somebody
hook
at
you up.
He's giving me a list today.
Okay,
All
items
right,
that
good,
may increase that scenario. So, as the Beck seed product comes and gets turned into ethanol, tell me how you guys' development of your seed to be able to produce different parts of that seed is broken down to produce different parts of the ethanol blend. How does that all work?
That's way above my.
Okay, so that's in the hybrid side of it. Okay,
I can talk to that. When we make ethanol,
give me the cliff notes on it.
There's three parts of a corn seed.
Yep.
We only use the starch to make ethanol. Then the germ and the bran goes into the DDGs, which is a nutrient-rich livestock feed that we use domestically, and we export that stuff all over the world.
And I think the point that I was getting to here is that some people think that the corn is taking away from a food supply, and it is not. I think that's a key.
The food versus fuel myth is just that. It's a myth. We got enough corn for all purposes, and that includes livestock feed, ethanol, exports, and then that sliver of the yellow corn in the field. Remember, we're talking about field corn, not sweet corn. We have a sliver of that, maybe a 16th, maybe an 8th, that goes to food and all other uses, including paints and plastics
and sugars and all that other.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, but you had mentioned something in the meeting, the 1 o'clock, whenever they did the draws, and you were there, the lineup draw. The line that you used is
Well, I'm a liquid fuels guy. And I'm not I'm into liquid fuels, not kilowatts.
Yeah.
My vehicles run on liquid fuel, and of course I'm the ethanol fanatic. But I'm all about liquid fuels. I'm also about American-made fuels. And people that want to run their car on kilowatts, more power to them. But liquid fuels are going to be here a long time.
Gotcha. Thank you guys for coming on board.
Yes,
I appreciate
thank
it. Thank you very much for continuing to host such a prestigious event for all these competitors and all these fans that will still fill these stands tonight.
Well, I made a promise to a certain individual, and I've kept that promise.
I absolutely agree.
And you're doing it, Mike, just from all of us, you're doing an awesome job honoring your parents' legacy, and we really appreciate it. This is, folks, we've talked all season, Phil, about
Absolutely.
bucket list events. The Enderle Pull-Off is, bar none, a bucket list event. It is one of the top events in the sport of pulling. Great campground for fans, great grandstands. I mean, the Enderle Pull-Off, it moves fast. You have the top vehicles in the country and great sponsors and great partners. And if you get the chance, if you're within earshot, you've got another hour to get here. The regional starts at 5, the Grand National around 7. If you can't make it here in person, full pull live, but put this one on your bucket list, folks. You need to come to the Enderle Pull-Off.
Have
It
you
is
guys
amazing.
got the app, the Full Pull Picks app? So you can follow along online, the lineups as well as the results, as well as put a little real money down. And I think for the last event of the year, there's an incentive of they will match some denomination. I don't recollect what it was because I joined way too early, so I'm not eligible for it. But yeah, it's a way to stay in tune as you're watching online or you're dual screening, you're watching it and you've got your phone in front of you. The Full Pull Picks app and the Full Pull Live app gives you another way to stay tied into this event. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you guys. Tune in, $39.99. We're about an hour from the start of the 5 p.m. regional session for the Road to the Enderle Invite, and the Memorial Pull-Off presented by the Farmer's Daughter, Farmer's Equipment, Case, a local Chevy dealer, and the Grand Nationals will start at 7 p.m. Am I missing anything, Darren?
No, I think you covered it. I mean, this is it. This is the final Grand National hook of the year. No points on the line. Big time. Go big. Go home. The wick is turned all the way up. The volume is turned up to 11. It's go time and hammer down. So the 37th annual Enderle Pull-Off coming up in just 1 hour from now. Thank you
guys. Tune back in. Catch you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.